Billie Eilish made recent headlines after admitting she started watching porn at the age of 11 and then stating it ruined sex for her. And guess what? Parents already dread the sex talk, but should we add porn to this conversation as well? Well, joining us now is family psychologist Dr. Alexandra Solomon to help us navigate through these tough topics. Welcome to the show, Doc.
Hi, thanks for having me on.
What's the biggest problem with kids learning about sex through porn?
Well, the biggest problem is that porn sex and real world sex are pretty radically different endeavors. And most of what we see in mainstream porn does not fit the kinds of sexual values that our kids and teens and all of us need and deserve to have. For example, there was a study a few years ago where a team of researchers looked at 304 random scenes from a popular porn site, and they found that 90% of the scenes showed physical aggression towards women and 50% showed verbal aggression towards women. So what we aren't seeing in mainstream porn and what kids and teens aren't seeing are things like consent and care and communication.
What's the main age group that's being affected by this early porn exposure?
The main age group that I worry about, of course, are kids. And what the research shows us is the average age of exposure for boys is 13 and for girls it's 14. And in fact, when they surveyed a group of 14-year-olds to 18-year-olds, a full nearly 90% of the boys had already been exposed and almost 60% of the girls had been. So this is what's happening, right? If you look at the top 10 websites that were viewed in 2021, 2 of those websites were porn sites. So it's rampant. And we've got a significant problem in our hands.
Those are big numbers.
Those are big numbers.
I remember back in my day, there was Masters and Johnson. I would go to that boring book with graphs and all this stuff and go, okay,
you're right.
This is what sex is about. Well, it is a totally different playing field now.
It really is. Dr. Alexandra, Billie Eilish touched on this in a recent interview, and you echo some of the same sentiments. You say that learning about sex through porn can have devastating effects. Talk to us about that.
Yeah, when we talk about devastating effects, we're talking about mental and emotional and relational impacts, right? And the things that do harm to all of us are those experiences in our life where it's too much, it's too soon, it's too fast, right? That's across the board. And so that's very often what happens when we're thinking about a young person who is by themselves with this really significant imagery and potentially not having anyone to talk about it with. So that's really, we are most harmed by those experiences where we can't turn to somebody we love and trust and say, hey, I just got really scared, really flooded, really overwhelmed. Those are the experiences that happen in secret, in silence, that can leave lasting effects on our kids.
And Dr. Alexandra, I'm sure this has been studied. How does porn affect kids' brains?
Well, what I love so much about Billie Eilish coming forward, and I know she's saying that it ruined her brain, but I have every confidence in our ability to heal because our brains are neuroplastic, as you both know better than I do. We all continue to develop. So we can heal from experiences that are traumatizing, that are too much. But certainly we are, kids and teens who are exposed too soon run the risk of having really distorted expectations around sex, around their own bodies, what bodies should look like, the kinds of things they ought to be interested in. And sex can start to feel scary. It can feel like a performance versus something that is, to be enjoyed by people who are both really ready for it and really experiencing pleasure in it.